I spent $0 for my stay in Peru. Travel, a privilege, a blessing, a form of education, and a goal I try to achieve at least once a year. But when I do travel, I do so on a budget. Alright, so I've been traveling ever since I was 6 years old, and I just love traveling, but sometimes it can be expensive, but it doesn't really have to be. There are ways you can cut costs, and one of the two major costs while traveling is accommodation and flight costs. The rest are flexible depending on your way of spending, your expenses, just who you are as a person. Flight tickets usually are not fixed, they're flexible. I don't think there's a formula to it, but something I did notice is that during the middle of the week, the flight deals are usually less expensive. So basically try to think like how the airports are thinking. Like if there are a lot of people, a lot of traffic in the airports, there definitely will be higher prices in that regard. So during the middle of the week, maybe Tuesday, Wednesdays are a good time to book in general. From my observation, when I was coming from Madrid, I booked a flight deal and it was cheaper than usual. And the best part was that there was almost nobody in the chair, in the seats, so I had the whole row to myself, and that was like the best flight ever because I could sleep. Like I had a bed there. So what I did notice is as a traveler is that middle of the week is the best time usually. Don't quote me, it's not a formula, but it's my observation. Middle of the week is the best time usually to book a flight. Second way to manage flights is through price comparison websites like Google. And we also have Skyscanner. I don't really like Skyscanner because I just feel like it's never really giving me the best of deals, and I just hate the pop-ups that come up afterward. So my go-to usually is Google Flights. It gives you different prices from different like distances and like different layover times, and my favorite tool on Google Flight, this is not sponsored by the way, is basically the tracking tool, where you can put in the dates, the time, and the location of where you are thinking of going, and once you put that, you can track those prices, and every time the prices change, Google will give you an update through your send an email with an update on these price changes. And that's how I manage and try to get best deals. There are a couple of websites to check out for great flight deals. One of which is Secret Flying, Hopper, Momondo, flightdeals.com, and also Skiplagged. Another way of cutting down flight costs is by booking your flights from busy hubs, usually on the coasts of the United States, if this is applicable to the United States, or just any busy hub around the world. So New York, San Francisco, LA, DC, Houston, Dallas. This is for the United States. Just think of any busy hub in your country, and if you are kind of close to it, that's a blessing. You usually get great deals because a busy hub. I'll give, for example, I live in New York, and part of the reason why I moved to New York was for the great flight deals. There are many trips I've seen, flights I've seen to Europe from New York for starting like at $300 round trip, guys, not even just one way, round trip. So that's a great deal. If you don't live close to a busy hub area, maybe like rent a car if it's possible for you, and drive down, if it's not too far, to this busy hub area and save costs. Another way of saving money for flight tickets are basically by tricking your computer on your locations. Do you know that if you decide to pay in dollars, or you change your location of your flights to another location, the prices are usually different. So that is something you can also consider to reduce your costs. Going off on general travel tips, another way to save travel costs is by traveling off season. In New York, the busy travel seasons are December, July, August, November. So if you're not living in New York and you want to travel in New York, travel to New York during these these time periods, just know that a lot of things will be expensive. Accommodation will be expensive, flights will be expensive, general expenses for anything will be expensive. If you know that December is a high season in New York, then come to New York in February or come in January. So that is just something to note. So come during off season. Get to enjoy these popular spots or these tourist attractions on your own without any crowd. If you don't like crowd like me, this is a great deal. This is applicable to accommodation and transportation. You can use sharing services. We have tons of apps online to save you costs, travel costs. So in Europe, a service that's very popular is called BlaBlaCar, and through BlaBlaCar you can basically go on this website and find out where someone is going. So basically how this website works is that someone has a car and maybe they're going to a location that's the same place you're going to, and the time works for you. You choose a time that works for both parties, and then basically introduce yourself and book a ride. So you're basically going to share rides with the owner and maybe one other person or your friend, and all of you go together and you pay less than what you will by going through the traditional transportation system. I've done it for that while I was in Spain many times, and of course use your common sense to kind of gauge if the person is sketchy or not. Read a lot of reviews. So with many shared services, since you're kind of basing it on trust, the best bets to kind of gauge if this person is going to be a good person or they're going to provide the good services by reading the comments from previous users. The same applies to Airbnb, which is a form of accommodation or service I prefer to use for many reasons, not just because it's more affordable, also because for me it's a way to connect with locals and also see how locals in a particular area live. I'm a big advocate for Airbnb, even though I've had my own Airbnb nightmare experience, but majority of my Airbnb experience has been positive, and so I will keep promoting it for now. So yes, Airbnb is another way of cutting down cost. My last but not least tip for you to travel on a budget is by offering your service. So a lot of people don't know this, but while I visited Peru last year in 2018, I basically spent nothing, $0 on accommodation. It was so beautiful looking at my invoice and like accommodation, this was the price it was supposed to be, but what I actually paid was $0. And how on earth did I get that deal? So a month or two before I traveled to Peru, I looked up a bunch of hotels and I just was pitching every other day to them, telling them, hey, I'm Karima, I'm a travel content creator, this is what I do, la di da di la. And of course, this how pitching works is that you're gonna pitch tons of proposals and you probably get only one or two. So you have to have a tough skin to accept rejection. And I finally got 2 hotels that agreed to let me write for them in exchange for staying there. So it required a lot of patience, and of course is like I'm not kind of I say I'm staying for free, but not necessarily it's a service, it's an exchange. So it worked. I was only visiting Lima and Cusco, and so yeah. So that's what you can do. So if you're a videographer, if you're a photographer, if you're a writer, or I don't know, you have any skills that could be useful and you also have the time to do that, and you know, and you want to also save money while traveling, that is an option. Yeah, so those are the 5 tips I have to share with you on how to save money while traveling. Anyone can do it. If I can do it, you can do it too. I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions about traveling or how to save money, feel free to message me or comment down below. Also, if you have any other tips that you'd like to share, do the same thing, write it down in the comment below, because I love learning from you as well. Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye. Hasta luego.
If you'd like to learn more about traveling smart, check out this comprehensive list I made on how to earn money while traveling. The link is in the comment section down below.